Good afternoon, and welcome to Lorain County Board of Commissioners, Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. It's 5 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Riddell,
Here.
Commissioner Hung. Here. And under resolutions, number 1, investments.
Is there more than one page?
No.
Okay. These are the investments. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 2, appropriations.
Okay, looks like we have 8 items on the appropriations. Any questions? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve the appropriations.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 3, transfers.
Looks like we have 6 items for transfers. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
No advances or repayments. Number 5, requisitions.
Okay, this is page 1 of 5 that we'll be voting on today. Any discussions? I was going to ask our budget director to explain item 683. Because I think you were talking to me today about the requirements, right?
Yeah, certainly. So 683, description on there is the 2022 dog tag fees. So per the Ohio Revised Code, a portion of the dog fees, the dog license fees, needs to be sent to the College of Veterinary Medicine Canine Research Fund down at Ohio State. So that is the explanation for that particular requisition.
And then there's another requisition, I don't have it in front of us, but 2 more down in regards to the, there it is, item number 685.
Sure.
Could you go in a little bit more detail for the public?
Absolutely.
Thank
So
you, sir.
685, so that is for the debt service for the Visit Lorain County building. So a portion of the bed tax gets, the bed tax fund, those funds are used to pay down the debt service for that building. So this portion is essentially replenishing the bank account that pays the debt service.
Right, and that's basically the property that's on Route 58,
Correct.
just south of the Turnpike? Okay.
Correct.
Sidebar, on the board, we had our first meeting since 2017, and we discussed the property, and we'll probably be looking for an appraisal on that property since it's now empty. I'll be moving forward on that piece of property, so. Okay, you can get back to the screen, Victor. Okay, we can go to page, any other questions in regards to page 1? If not, we can move to page 2. Does the board have any questions in regards to page 2 of 5? Seeing none, can we go to page 3 of 5? Any questions in regards to 3? If not, we can go to page 4 or 5. Seeing no questions, we'll move on to page 5 of 5. And I'll make a motion to approve the requisitions as reviewed.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 6, travel.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 7, bills.
I think there's 2 pages, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This is page one of the bills that had to be paid. No questions, we'll move on to page two. If there's no questions, then I'll move to approve the bills as reviewed.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 8, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, commissioners may recess into an executive session to discuss personnel, new hires, and board appointments. And then B, public comment.
Yep, I don't think anybody filled out any paperwork. This is the part where if you wish to have any public comment on, in regards to anything on the agenda, at this point, we'd ask you to step up, and seeing that nobody has filled out any appropriate paperwork, then we'll move on to, I guess, old business.
Which we have none.
None?
And then on to board business. Number 9, approve and waive the reading of commissioners' meeting minutes of February 21st and February 24th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 10, adjust the salaries of longevity for Lorain Municipal Court employees reflecting the county's 2/5 share, effective retroactive to February 1st, 2023. Peter Torres, bailiff, biweekly rate is $1,024.85, and Bianca Villar, bailiff, biweekly rate of $1,028.91.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is the one we had from before, prior, is it not?
And I think the Assistant County Prosecutor, would you like to add anything?
You can't
Can't.
do it. It's another one of those things where you're asked to vote on and approve something you have no control over.
Thank you for clarifying that for us.
Absolutely. I've done my job this evening, but yes.
Anything else?
That was the right thing to say.
That-
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 11, adjust the salaries of Elyria Municipal Court employee bailiff Vaca for Judge White, representing the county's 2/5 share, effective retroactive to December 18th, 2022, and new biweekly rate is $1,030.08.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 12, under Solid Waste Management. Enter into a contract with Resource Recycling System, Inc. in the amount of $216,000 on behalf of the Lorain County Solid Waste Management District for implementation assistance of the current solid waste management plan and will be paid from the consultant services account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes, I see we have the Director of Solid Waste here. Would you like to kind of explain what we're
Sure.
voting on?
Yep, good evening, Commissioners. So RRS is a new environmental consultant. We had used GT Environmental for the past 15 years. They had a shakeup in their company, and we've moved on to RRS. RRS this is a 3-year contract for $216,000. It was we were paying GT $96,000 a year. This is $72,000 a year. So it's a savings, and they are a fantastic company. They have a lot of depth, a lot more employees. In the state of Ohio, if the EPA takes over your district for some reason, this is the company that they would hire to come in and do it. So they have expertise and a lot of connections in the state. We're very happy with them. I've been talking with them regularly, and this is a planning year. It's very important that I have some consultants to bounce things off of, so.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
When does it, so it starts today? I don't see dates here. That's
Right. Well, it officially will start today.
3 years thereafter. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Usually there's dates in here, Mr. Blevins.
Right. I kind of fudged it a little bit, Commissioner, because I had started
know if we're
talking
gonna
to
vote
them.
for it.
Right, exactly.
Any other questions?
Mr. Blevins, could
Yes,
you
sir.
explain a little bit for the public the solid waste management plan?
All right, the plan is something that dictates how the district is run. So there's a policy committee that basically puts that together. It's made up of the public, the health commissioner, the mayor of the largest city, township representative, and a representative from the Board of Commissioners. Basically, it tells us how we're going to run the district for the next 10 years. So in that plan, I have to tell them how we're going to deal with the waste, the recycling, how we put in reports quarterly and annually to the EPA, the fees that are adjusted and for trash that comes in from the district and from outside the district. Basically, it's a game plan of how we run the district. So it's a document that's about 400 pages long.
Yeah, Mr. President, we've been running all day since probably 7:30 this morning, and we've had the mayor's breakfast things today, and usually you would have sat down with me. So just to clarify, the contract here that you attach says January 1st of 2023. Have they been working for you? Do we want to amend the resolution?
Yeah,
I mean,
why
what
don't
do
we
you wanna
amend the
do here?
resolution? They have been working for me, and it wouldn't be fair to take this 3 years from today. So can we amend that to make it January 1st?
Sure, so
That's fine.
we'll just amend it to reflect the dates on the contract, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay.
Yes.
Do I just so move
I don't
that?
think I don't think we have
Contract's
to.
under control.
Right, we're just voting for the contract,
We're voting to authorize the
the
contract.
one that said today, not us, so.
Okay, so as long as what it says on the contract, you're good?
Yeah, the contract's the contract, so.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful.
I know usually you would have come down to chat with me on it, but it's just been one of those days.
One of those days, yes.
Okay,
Commissioner Moore?
aye,
Commissioner Hung?
Yes,
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 13, enter into a contract on behalf of the Lorain County Solid Waste Management District with OSU Extension Office for year 2023 for compost education in the amount of $17,400 and to be paid from the solid waste allocation account.
so moved.
second,
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Blevins.
Yes. So, OSU Extension, or the Ohio State University Extension, there's been a partnership there for 15 years. This money goes to pay half of the salary of an education. It's basically agricultural and natural resource educator. And they go out and do composting seminars throughout the district. They do them all over the townships. They do them in the cities. I've been working closely with them. I was on their advisory committee, and we went and hired a new person this year. So he'll be taking, I believe he's already being trained, and he'll be hitting the ground. I am working with a private company to come into the county to do composting, and I'd like to see more education outreach to the cities, all 34 political subdivisions. I'd like to see each community have their own composting so that it's not a giant nuisance. However, we are dealing with any nuisance things that come up. The city of Lorain is where this gentleman has chosen to put his business. It's fantastic business. He has come up with some great ideas. He bought and owns a patented process where he used basically bugs, biology, to make it break down the compost quicker. The end item is so pure that they've been encapsulating it to about the same size as fertilizer, and they're spreading that on golf courses. Right now, there's a huge demand for nitrates because of the war in Ukraine with Russia. That's where all the nitrates came from. So there's additional monies out there from the FDA and USDA to come up with alternative sources of fertilizer, and I think this will work out great. We talk about algae blooms in Lake Erie. I went to a Clean Marinas convention last week at Sawmill Creek. It was very interesting. You know, a synthetic fertilizer absorbs at 26%, where something like what we're talking about, it's organic, it absorbs at 80%. Where does all the other stuff run off? It runs into the lake, creates these algae blooms. So I think it's unfortunate there's a war in Russia, but it may benefit us and the Great Lakes here. So very excited about the partnership with OSU Extension.
Anything else?
Mr. President,
Yes,
you might want to also check, Mr. Blevins, there's I believe it's Brian Kyles on North Ridge Road.
Sure.
He's using compost to blend with topsoil to make a pre-fertilized topsoil. And he has a process that might complement what you're doing.
Wonderful. I will. I'll reach out to him.
okay.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye,
Commissioner Hung?
yes,
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 14, Authorize Solid Waste Management District to file an application to the Ohio EPA Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance to participate in the Ohio EPA Community and Litter Grant Program. Funds are available to be awarded to support scrap tire amnesty and cleanup events sponsored by Solid Waste Management Districts through the Ohio EPA Community and Litter Grant Fund, and requirement is to charge a fee of 50 cents per scrap tire collected as part of the scrap tire amnesty and cleanup events as conditioned pursuant to revised code 3736.05C.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Well, do you have anything to add, Mr. Blevins?
Nope, that covered it all. No, we had done, 2 years ago, we did an agricultural tire roundup, and it cost the district about $50,000. So this will defer a great deal of that cost, probably $35,000 of it. The only difference is, one of the EPA rules is we have to charge for each tire. So a little bit more, as far as logistics, getting the names and numbers and getting the money, but easily done.
Okay, out in the township meetings, that's all they talk about. They love this program.
Right.
So, thanks for bringing it back.
Anything else? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 15, under engineer, accept and journalize the 2022 report on bridges for Lorain County. This report is intended to summarize the condition of the 235 bridges, structures over 10 feet in clear span that the county owns and maintains, and responsible for inspecting each bridge, which range in span from 10 feet to 305 feet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 16, approve and enter into a contract with Quality Control Construction, Inc. in the amount of $68,730 to provide construction administration and inspection services for the LOR CR 95-0.56 project, Sheffield Township. 80% will be funded by ODOT and remaining 20% will be provided by a grant from OPWC.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Number 17, award the 2023 highway materials contract to Messenberg Brothers, Inc., Collins, Ohio, in the amount of $166,750. 3 bids received, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and will be paid from the materials account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 18, under Sheriff. Amend Resolution 23-127, adopted February 1st, 2023, authorizing Sheriff to apply for grant funds through the 2022 ARPA grant through Ohio EMA in the amount of $555,484.64 for mental wellness visits and officer retention and incentives. Said amendment is to reflect the correct account number and will be paid from the professional services and 9% account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
On to public comment.
Yes. Michael DiCarlo? Yes. It's okay to say chief? Okay. Just don't call you sir.
Don't call me sir.
Okay.
Michael DeCarlo, 320 Alberta, Vermillion. Good evening, Mr. President and Commissioners. Come again today in an effort of continuous process improvement and a more perfect representative system, government system, to ask that for some financial funding for fire hydrants, yellow fire hydrants in Vermillion. Recently, last 2 issues of the Vermillion Photo Journal, we had a similar situation in Erie County, on Minnewawa Drive, where there's a yellow fire hydrant that contaminated a sewer line, and people got their sewers backed up in their house, but there's already been 2 bids put out, or been published twice for bids in Erie County. There are more fire hydrants on the Lorain County side, 2 of them on my street and a couple over in the Vermillion on the lake historical areas that have been that way since I've been there, and I've been there for 2 years. This happened over the summer. Other than that, on the more personal side and stuff, Mr. Don Malloy is recently retired from Brookside as a basketball coach. Mr. Malloy was my first basketball coach when I was 10 years old, and he's been continuously coaching through there. He was my first and last basketball coach, actually, because he was actually an assistant for the Avon High School when I played basketball for them as well. I wish him a very happy retirement and enjoy it, and he really was a positive influence on a lot of folks. Folks like him taught folks that it's okay to fail. It's how you get up that counts. And then when you're successful, you didn't do it all by yourself. You had a big support staff around you. And also in that same regard, a couple of school teachers here I'd like to mention would be Mr. Tom Begani and Mr. Alan Ware. They were taught at Avon High School and Avon Middle School. Taught me to think anyway, in funny terms, but also in a non-linear way, which helped me out as a submariner because we do a lot of stuff in an asymmetrical pattern. So it really helped me to have a successful career in the Navy. Other than being a chief, I was actually Sailor of the Year on board a nuclear power submarine, the USS Bremerton, in 2001. Great year for some folks, not for me, or not for us. I think I said before, I was actually on the other side of the world, so my 11th was peaceful, but my 12th started off kind of rough and different. Within your jurisdiction, a little more serious note, in Lorain, the Department of Homeland Security, under the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, was out enforcing jaywalking tickets in Lorain with minors. If that's the proper use of our federal tax dollars, I think we should all start questioning all of that. Furthermore, under the Department of Homeland Security, Erin Brockovich, that name rings a bell because like a movie made about her like 20 some odd years ago, right? She was labeled under Yahoo News as a, single issue environmental terrorism or something like that. And the headline reads Ohio Police, and if you read the article, it starts off with the DHS, and then it moves on. The way that this stuff works, based upon my limited experience within the federal government in 25 years, is that the big boys at the top create something to create division amongst folks. I have no problem with police officers in Ohio. I have people all over on all sides of that argument. I have friends within the Department of Homeland Security, but when statements are made to cause division, to cause alert, not division. They're almost like they're just trying to justify their existence. Am I out of time?
Yeah.
All right, but thank you very much for your time.
Should have brought your wife.
President?
Yes.
I did refer your issues on the fire hydrants to Mayor Forthover in Vermillion and encouraged him to pull up the video on our meetings to get the detail and substance of the issue that you see.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, thanks as
And-
always for coming in.
And as far as the police officers in Vermillion, that's water over the dam and under the bridge. That issue's been passed on, and taken care of. Those were the guys that actually put me in the ambulance after my experience in Michigan, where I found out Go Blue really means something different.
Oh, well, wait a minute now.
Have a great time.
Clerk's report.
Nothing, but just a reminder, Board of Commissioners meeting Friday, the 10th at 10:30 a.m. And that's it.
Move to waive board correspondence.
We have the reading of.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
You're learning.
Unless your guy's gonna make her, I need a second, or she's reading it.
Are you going to second it, Jeff?
Second.
Commissioner?
Any discussion? Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell,
All right.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes. I thought he was starting it. I was waiting for the rest of it.
And then new business.
Okay, any new business?
I have two items, Mr. President.
Okay.
The first, if we could pull it up, I was visited yesterday by, happened to be the person in the building when they came. What you're seeing is a floor plan of the space over at EMA and the former 911. And in our zeal here to try and put as much of this into the public eye, this is the very early stages of a project that we want to just make people aware. These things don't happen in a vacuum. But the Red Cross must vacate their building on West River Road, and they're looking for space. And the trend for Red Cross and EMA is to cohabitate closely as possible. They don't need a lot of space. They need some space for their emergency trailers, and they need some spaces to store cots and supplies when they go to set up shelters. And something that I think might be of interest to folks. The first 3 days of a crisis belong to the county. After the third day, by law, the Red Cross is in charge with them providing shelter through whatever arrangements they've made for the people that are displaced. So this is a pretty natural project. It falls in line with what they've been doing. And I don't know if it requires a motion, Mr. President, but we should set the system in place for the county administrator and our assistant prosecutor to work with them on the space and take a look at what a lease might look like. So this space will not interfere and not pose a security problem, from what I understand from our facilities people, with the EMA. But obviously it needs to be looked at by more than just memory. But I would move that we have our people do that and encourage this partnership with the Red Cross.
I don't know if we need a motion. I think this is basically at a
This is
discussion
the doing
point.
your homework phase.
Right, and
Okay.
Yeah, I will, let me look at it, because Karen and I, our esteemed, or your esteemed deputy administrator and I have been talking about leases a little bit this week. And so we'll look at that in conjunction with this. I want to see what flexibility we have with the EMA building. But if it's something the sense of the board is it's worth looking into, we'll look into it. And Mr. Armbruster and Mr. Perkins and I we'll dig into it. And then we'll go
Very
from
good.
there.
yeah, but we're gonna be looking at where are they at now? What are they paying in rent now? What's it gonna cost us to convert it over? So this is about a money issue or not? I don't know. So there's a lot of unknowns since I just heard about it today, so.
Well,
so this is discussion.
yesterday I was the only one in the building,
Okay.
not saying anything special.
No, this is,
They went down the hallway, they got to the end of the hallway, and there I was.
okay.
I was here yesterday, but I had to leave about 1 o'clock, I think, 1:30.
So,
You have anything?
and I'm not saying anything to the other commissioners, I'm just saying they were in a sounding board position, and I was referred because a couple of the people on their board I have served on other boards with, and they are under a timetable. They need to be somewhere else by May.
By May?
Yeah, I would,
Okay.
I would support having Karen and the administrator look into it with facilities, I don't know Dan's title, with Dan Gross.
Facilities director.
Yeah, Karen, I think we were talking just a little bit today about door configurations and, any light remodeling that would have to happen and timetable for that.
Well,
If
now
you
that-
could look into it for us.
And I don't know if there's any securities concerns, since they'll be kind of commingling, it looks like, from that floor plan. There might be some security
Like I
issues.
said, I want to look at
Yeah,
that part of
so-
it, but.
Yeah.
So you heard positive energy today, so you can move forward.
I think it's, find some answers for us, Karen. See what you can come up
By
with.
Friday.
Just want the public
Please
to
and thank
know
you.
that- I just want the public to know that not everything we do requires spending money.
Yep.
Yeah, and Karen's like,
Yeah.
add another thing to my list now, why don't you?
Okay, that was number one. What was
Commissioner
your
Riddell,
number?
you do realize we're gonna have to paint and clean the carpet and do some
Oh,
door
yeah.
lock changes
That's
and
okay.
those kinds
That's
of
fine.
things. So we do have to spend a little money.
This sounds like some nice, positive,
Hopefully that money will come from the lease of the space.
yeah.
Okay, the second item, Commissioner Hung and Commissioner Moore, I forwarded you some information concerning the process for implementing a strategic plan, and I would like to put that on our docket for us to have conversations moving forward. Again, it's not the kind of subject that lends itself to executive session, but I'd like the public to know that I'd like us to take a look at doing a strategic plan. It was discussed last year, and as we come to the close of our ARPA, we're going to be back into the normal phase of dealing with our budget, and we'd like to have a process that allows the community to weigh in on the things that are important to them and what their priorities are. and I don't think it's a terribly expensive process, but it needs to be done by professionals. And the information that I collected was referred to us by the folks over at Lorain County Community College, who unfortunately disbanded their Public Services Institute, and referred us to several people, though, that do that type of work. And it's a process that the college has used, and they've become the #1 community college in the country by developing a strategic plan and implementing the plan. And I would think that that would be a goal that we would aspire to.
Okay. I've been getting a lot of phone calls lately, I guess. I talked to Mr. Petticourt in regards to this Nexus line issue. I don't know if you're ready to talk about that, but I'm looking at, I got several emails requesting us to talk more about the effects of an appeal. And we voted last year, I believe in August, which I voted no for, to allow an elected official to hire a law firm, which I think you and I had that discussion. I didn't think we even needed to vote on that in the first place, right?
Well, I don't think you should be able to vote on that. You
Right.
should have to vote on that in the first place, but the
that was
statute
his-
said
that
you
was-
have to.
Oh, really? That's how that? But I don't have the ability to repeal that decision, do I?
Well,
Because I thought you were explaining to me it was a joint effort.
well, there are two ways that outside counsel can be hired for entities which I otherwise represent. Three ways. One, you have the ability to hire, the board has the ability to hire up to the compensation of the prosecutor without the involvement of my office. And then once that compensation limit is hit, you're cut off. But if it's going to be an expenditure that we anticipate would be over that, the statute provides two opportunities. One is a joint motion with my office and the board, where I basically say, or my office says, because of the nature of the representation in the way that my office is constructed, I need outside help to adequately represent either this board, another elected official, or any of the other entities for which I'm statutory counsel. That's what happened here. The other way is similar to what's happening with, we retain counsel around the same time, or the board retained counsel around the same time for the clerk, because the clerk needed some legal advice vis-a-vis some issues with the courts and the computer system. And because I represent both the clerk and the computer and the court, I couldn't advise one side or the other. In that case, it's a conflict, and my office has to certify to the court that there's a conflict. And that's the statutory method. In this method, we filed a joint motion with the court. It was accepted. They were retained, and Retzel and Anderson is representing Lorain County Auditor in conjunction with my office in relation to this matter. Is that confusing enough?
No, I didn't like I voted no because I didn't, as I said then, excuse you, as I said then, it was an unwinnable case, and that has come true. And now we're at that crossroads where I'm getting calls from 12 other counties asking me to do things that says I don't have the statutory ability to do, such as defund, which you've advised me this week that I cannot do, that in order to get the ball rolling, because there's several school systems that cannot even start the projects to build schools because of one county auditor has decided to use this as I don't know what. So my concern is it true that he has till the 13th to make up his mind whether or not to appeal? Because my understanding is, I don't want to misstate something here, but I think the reason why I said that was unwillable, because I don't think he had the jurisdiction, right? Correct? Or maybe I'm saying the wrong word there.
Well,
The standing to,
the Board of Tax Appeals decided that even though there was language in the settlement agreement between Nexus and the state that contemplated an appeal and had timelines for an appeal, and that would be the normal course, the Board of Tax Appeals determined that because the auditor did not appeal the initial assessment in 2019, which is the assessment which our auditor agrees with, because he didn't appeal that assessment, he had no, it's not really jurisdiction. He couldn't participate in the appeal filed by Nexus from that 2019 decision. That's what happened. So the question now becomes, the auditor has to decide whether he wants to appeal that up to, there's an appeal as of right to the Supreme Court. There also, I think he can also choose the Court of Appeals in Franklin County or here, and that will be his election if he chooses to appeal. I believe we've calculated the deadline for that appeal to be next Monday, the 13th.
Okay. So there's no way as a county commissioners, since we've already voted once on it.
I don't think I think Craig Snodgrass was elected the auditor.
Exactly.
And he has,
But he came here and asked for a vote, which I don't think it was, you and I have had this debate. I don't think you really needed a vote, correct?
well, I think the statute says that it has to be a joint motion, and the commissioners in my office have to file a motion with the court.
But we can't reverse that.
I don't believe you can.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any comments?
Mr. President, I think for the public, the issue at hand here is that there's, that this was a settlement reached by the tax commissioner covering the 13 counties that are impacted by the Nexus pipeline. And based on that, there was a series of work that was done and a settlement was reached with the tax commissioner, who has the authority to do that when it goes across multiple taxing districts. As it was explained to me, that the appeal now would be the first of two steps. One would be to gain standing and a reversal of the last action. The second one would be to actually debate what the right number might be or might not be. So during that whole process, the pressure that's coming to the commissioners is, school districts, would like to proceed, and they reluctantly have agreed that the settlement reached by the tax commissioner was less than what they had hoped for, but it was more than what they had. But right now, during the dispute, Nexus is only required to pay the lesser amount, which is what they had asked to pay before the negotiations. So there's the lesser amount, there's the negotiated amount, and we had hoped for this amount. And so there's a settlement amount, but that money is not being paid, and there are people with construction projects and so forth that are based on receiving those revenues, and they have to either find bridge financing or delay the project, and there's some disconcert. But if I read the president correctly, the issue is it's coming to the commissioners because it's a Lorain County issue. And I would encourage the school districts and those that are affected, I believe there's 6 in Lorain County, to reach out to the auditor and let their issues be known, because that's where the situation lies right now, is with the auditor. But it's a fairly complex issue. It doesn't happen very often, but it's about the valuation of the pipeline and what the taxes on that will be spread amongst all the real estate entities that it affects.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other new business? I do believe we have some personnel issues and a legal issue I was informed of late, because I didn't expect us to go into exec tonight, so.
Yeah, but from what we talked about before, there is a current matter of litigation I could update the board on if the board chooses to go into executive session. In addition, the clerk has mentioned that there are personnel matters, so for those 2 reasons, my suggestion would be to move to go into executive session for those 2 reasons. And then
Yeah,
we'll talk
it's my understanding that there's like 2 personnel issues and 1 legal. So just so that we know, I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet.
Anytime the lawyer talks, it's short. We all know that. So.
Well, okay, so I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the reasons stated by the county assistant prosecutor.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore? Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I see you guys moved up 2 rows. You're getting braver and braver.
Oh, TV, they all pointed.
Karen,
Can't see.
actually, we We did talk about the TVs for the drone footage.
Those-
You were gonna price
You
those
take your
out.
bifocals like I do, and then, oh, it's
Thank
clear.
you.
They're pretty, yeah, they're pretty good clip for what was going on, but they're for it, they're actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going back in the front office.
I thought for sure the sheriff would be here tonight. You know, this is the first time he's missed, I think, this year, so.
Don't you give any money back.
Yeah, we did. We did an amendment on it for, you know.
I went to high school.
What?
Gal was mine at.
Yeah.
Highlander, I went to high school with her, she started that lunch punch.
Oh, yeah.
It meets every Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thanks, Victor. Good job. Okay, it is 6:45 and we're back from executive session.
All right,
So do we just,
make a motion
I
to
guess I'll make a
approve.
motion to approve the personnel summary sheet.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Okay, and our next meeting is Friday at 10:30?
Yep, March 10th at 10:30
March
a.m.
10th? Okay, fantastic. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
With a little bit of help, can we be over by 1:30? No. Is 3 hours enough, boss?
Oh, geez, here we go.
Sounds good to me.
Well, unless you guys want to start earlier, we can start earlier.
Well, I don't have any problem with that. I don't know where the 10:30 came from, but
I don't know.
I
that's okay. Me, morning is 8:30.
Yeah.
can do 9:30s if you want to do 9:30s.
Yeah,